Look at my hair. This is crazy. I should have done something. I have people for this. Can
I'm,
we get
I,
the hair and makeup people in, please? Oh, they're on lunch break. Sorry, we're gonna have to just go with this. Check this out. This is for this is from Dritten. This is
you're not moving. You're
huh?
moving. Yes, you're
Okay,
moving.
sorry. Yeah, okay. You can see it?
Yes, it's a robot that can pour latte art.
I know. So what I wanted to know, right? It's not that the robot can pour latte art, it's the robot can pour latte art quite well.
Mhm.
And what I'm interested to know is how does it know the flow of milk going out? Because you can't control. Look at that. It's really good. How can it control the flow of milk? Is it by weight? Does it just say, well, there's this much milk going in, and therefore I know? But it can't be that precise with the whole, like when it's steamed and everything, knowing how much volume and all the rest of it's in there.
Do you
How
think
does it
that
know
there
how
is?
what angle to tip the jug?
Do you think that there is a margin to it?
I think there's a guy behind there with little robot arms, and the whole thing's a fake.
So the fact that you can actually steam automatically with the Sage Bambino Plus or Bambino
Yeah, I get
without
that, right?
Plus.
But the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's a little bit more, a little bit less there. But when you're drawing latte art with a robot, it has to be precise.
Latte art is not a skill.
Well, of
It's
course, it's a
not.
skill.
It's
Don't
not a skill.
it's
Any
a
trained monkey can learn it, and that is
any
proof.
trained monkey can learn anything, probably more than humans. And can I just say that latte art I've just heard is going to be at the Japanese Olympics. It's going to be a new Olympic sport. I made that up. That's not true. But you believe it, right? Because they've already got like sewing or something as part of the Olympics.
It's not
It's going to be a thing.
a
Trust
skill.
me, within 10 years, latte art Olympic gold medalists.
You just learn to steam milk, and then you can pour it, and
See, I
that's
know how
it.
to wind you up. I know how to wind
Yes,
you
you
up.
can.
This is going to be really so much fun for the next
Oh,
few episodes.
oh,
How you doing, Max? I'm drinking some really great not coffee here.
ooh,
What I would say is, can I just say that I think I over extracted this one slightly. I put 15 grams of the stuff
that's a
in.
lot.
Oh, is that too much? That's what I've been doing, but I've been not waiting for it to fully because it's difficult to it clogs a little bit.
You have to
So
change your papers. You have to use the Sibarist fast
yeah,
filter paper,
okay,
and
that's what
that
it is.
makes a massive difference. But you can use 6 to 9 grams, not 15. Not coffee.
Six
It's
to
something else,
nine. I was going 15 and 300 out.
dude. That's
Because
a
that's
lot.
well, okay, 'cause that's probably why it's strong then, isn't it?
Yeah. Can
I
you
mean, I
stand a
like
spoon on it?
yeah, that's going into my tummy, to my tummy. So we've got today we were planning to talk about something else as usual, but then we changed our minds because my Gaggia is broken, and I thought it'd be a great. Well, actually, first of all, the news. The news is I have bought a machine, but we're not going to
Yes.
tell anybody. Don't say anything.
No.
Because
But
what I want to do is I want to do an
it's going to be a
unwrapping.
surprise because it did surprise me because it was the least likely.
I was like, it is not what you think I was going to buy.
No.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Pretty much. It just if you go back through all the things that we've said, so just start with podcast number 0 or 0.5, I think we started with, and listen to all of them again, and you will hear me talk about how much this machine is ridiculous, and I will never buy one. But that's the one I got. So that's the one I got. But there are very good reasons for it.
Price.
No, I did get a very good price. Well, no, it's actually no. I got a decent price. It just happens that I can expense all machines.
So you got a decent price. So you overpaid for it.
No, I wouldn't say
if
I
you paid it
overpaid
like
for
a
it.
decent, it's like
Don't start. I'm going to start talking about latte art. So do some latte art right here. We're going to rename the channel the Latte Art Channel with Max just screaming. Talking of screaming. I spent yesterday. I was tired today. I didn't come around your house obviously because it's lockdown. But I drove around because we're moving house and we're thinking of moving house. I think I might have found one. And
where? What road? What postcode?
Just going to be. I'm moving to get
What
away
house
from you,
number?
Max. I'm moving because you already know where I live. I've got to move again. You found out where I live again. So, so, so anyway, what was I doing? So I told you I had to come back before the podcast and take a nap, and it was yesterday. Because yesterday I had 6 meetings yesterday, of which I
Wow.
counted it up. It came to 5 hours of video conferencing.
Yeah, that's pretty much my work day.
You're
Probably more
kidding me.
sometimes.
How can
Yeah,
you do that?
what I do.
God, I actually thought, and I was quite lucky because the people I was talking to are actually kind of fun and they're good people, but it's still 5 hours. And I'm thinking cows don't have to do this when you transport them or whatever, animals don't. And animal welfare people would go nuts if you made them watch Zoom calls for 5 hours. So, but we are forced to do it. So I think, first of all, number one, I think they should do an animal study to put cows in front of Zoom for 5 hours a day to see what kind of effects it has on
That
on
doesn't
sheep.
really matter to them because they don't care.
Well, you don't know that, Max. That's why you pay scientists. And trust me, scientists have been paid for a lot sillier things. I see the kind of studies that they get paid to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I read the IG Nobel Prizes regularly.
Yeah. And then secondly, I had another get rich quick scheme. Check this out. This is going to be amazing, right? We can do this together. I'll be in
Right.
because we're buddies. Well, I'll go in with you with the idea, but don't tell anybody else because it's all about first mover advantage. So what we're going to do for people like me that just hate 5 hours of Zoom calls, what I need to do is I need to scream at somebody. And the best person to scream to would be your boss, right? But obviously you can't do that. Your boss that makes you sit in these 5 hours of Zoom calls. You can't do that. We'll set up a service where we will dress up as you like. I'll have people that dress up, right, in suits or whatever, and they'll pretend to be your boss, and then you just scream at them. So what you do, is you dial in, you pay a fixed fee, $10. We'll make it $10 or something, right?
Mhm.
You call in, and it starts off like a regular Zoom call. And the person say, Smithers, go through the numbers with me. And you start going through the numbers. You go, you know what? I've had it. I don't like you. I've never liked you. And you just go into one, right? Not obviously on the real one, but with us. You pay your $10. It's cathartic. You shout everything. You hang up the call and you feel great about yourself. That's going to be a winner. What do you think?
I think that there is already one of those services, and it comes for free. You just need to check if you just need to shop around for car insurance.
Car insurance. You just shout at them. That is not very nice. That's not
It's
very
not
nice.
It's not about being nice. It's you check for the prices, and then the next week you can count on it. They're gonna call you for the next month, so you have someone to shout at. That's how I do it.
Yeah, we promise we won't share your number with anybody. We only use it for then I'm actually getting bugged by I'm getting bugged a lot by one of those auto robot dialers that calls your number, except it's in Chinese. How did I get on a Chinese, spam line? I don't know. I was going to tell you about. I was doom scrolling through. It's not there anymore. I was doom scrolling through my Google feed, and it was telling me about the new BMW versus the new Alfa Romeo. And the BMW is called the M3, and the Alfa
Because,
Romeo
of
is called
course,
the Giulio Mozzo Fiato Bidabadu. And you're like, what the hell?
yeah, but then you saw it.
I can't pronounce it. I would not be able to book a meeting to go look at it because I can't even say what it is. Why do they name cars like that? It's so Italian.
Yeah, just call it Julia. That's it.
Yeah, call it Julia. Ali, it's a girl. It's a girl. It's all right. It was a pretty looking car. Anywho, what I wanted to do today, because my Gaggia broke and I wanted free consultancy, so I thought I'd dress it up as a subject
podcast
for a podcast. Yeah.
I see. So it's £50. Before we talk about anything, just for the out call, it's £50.
No. See, it's not for me, Max.
Plus VAT.
It's not for me. It's really for the people out there that need to know what happens. Actually, let's actually frame it properly, because it's not just about the Gaggias. I actually had the question, and especially since I've just dropped a lot of dollar on a machine, I thought to myself, well, what do I do if it goes wrong? All right. It's kind of, I mean, these things are more complicated than your fridges you buy from John Lewis, and you're not getting them from John Lewis anyway, unless you're getting like an appliance. if you're getting one of these high-end machines, you're typically buying it from a specialist provider who may or may not be near you. They may or may not offer any direct warranty service themselves. Some things may be under warranty, some things may not. It may depend upon what you've done to the machine. I don't know how well you can rely on resellers to come out and actually fix any problems that you've got. So no one's going to tow your espresso machine to the this thing weighs a ton, or maybe
No,
they
there's
will,
no.
but I don't think they will. So the
Maybe there
question I
is
have,
an AA.
yeah, what you do, yeah, you put it in the back of the car and you say your car's broken, please take it to Birmingham. So you don't know, right, when you get this machine. And also one of our listeners, viewers, I don't know if I think he comments on YouTube. So I think
Houstoners.
viewer who also listens, presumably.
No, just reads the lips.
He reads the lips.
Just look at the closed caption that this and
my dad started reading lips because he can't hear anything. But anyway, that's what he says. I think it's a trap. So he wants to know what my sister and I are saying when he's not looking. But so what do you do, right? So if you're going to drop a bunch of dollar on a machine, and the machine just goes a little bit wonky, a little bit crook. Oh yeah. So this guy was saying that he's got a machine that's a bit poorly. His words, poorly. English, so things are poorly. And what do you do, right? So do you go onto the internet, which is the first thing that most of us do, right, to try to understand like what this is, because we don't want to spend, none of us want to spend whatever it costs, and maybe you can inform us.
All of us have a much higher opinion of our skills than we actually have.
Yeah. So that's going to be what we're going to talk about a little bit today. It's just, at what stage when should you look at trying to do something with your machine? Does it depend upon the machine? Does it depend on the kind of problem? How confident, how simple are these machines, especially when you get to the more expensive ones? Whether you should open them up, whether you're avoiding your warranty, whether you should just call somebody and pay the money. What are your thoughts, Max?
Well, there are a few questions. The first one is it still under warranty? If it's still under warranty, put your hands in your pocket and don't touch it, and send it for maintenance from a warranty. I mean, under warranty, because otherwise you screw yourself over. Number two is, if it goes wrong and it turns out to be beyond your skills, are you willing to either let it go and accept that you've done a lot of damage, or do you have the money to bring it to someone and then have it fixed? Because in certain cases you might end up doing more damage than you actually trying to fix. Because I came across a few machines, and some were clearly, they were fixed by the I can do it owner.
Yeah, people like me.
Well, not necessarily. I wouldn't want to put any blame on anyone, but yes, people like you. But anyway, stripping a thread, bending a boiler, or bending a pipe, or putting a kink in a pipe, or a crack. Then what do you do? I mean, you need to know, first of all, if you make a mistake, you have to pay for it. And second, then the most important is, are you really sure you can do it? And the corollary to that is, are you really, really sure you can do that?
Yeah.
If all of them are yes, of course, then go ahead.
Well, you're not going to be sure, are you, until you've had a go? And you're not going to, like me, you'll think to yourself, I've watched the YouTube video. It doesn't look that hard. I think I can do it. And then what you find is, after you've taken the whole thing apart, there's wires everywhere. There's nuts and bolts, in a hopefully in a cup somewhere that you haven't knocked over. And at that stage, you're at that point in the YouTube video, and then you realize it looks different. And you just go, wait, I don't have that wire. and you realize that's, the video's 3 years old, you've got a different model, and
Mhm.
now you're screwed. So that's kind of usually typically how it goes. It's never clean, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you need to understand what you have, but first and foremost, you need actually to evaluate what can be the damage. So if everything goes sideways and you completely lose the machine, are you okay with that? That's the main question. Whenever I buy something to repair, I don't buy stuff that is worth 300 or 400 pounds because I would be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it turns out that it's damaged beyond repair, or I need to do something that costs more than the coffee machine itself, but there's no point in fixing it
Yeah.
because I would be out of pocket. And if I'm out of pocket, even selling it for spares, it's probably gonna be impossible to sell it for what you bought it for, because you might even have done more damage.
So let's take my Gaggier as a use case,
Yes.
because this is an interesting one. So because first of all, what is it? It's a Gaggier. It's the latest model, 2019. I think I bought it when just after it had come out, the new model. So it's probably 2 year, 1.5 years old, maybe 2 years old.
Mhm.
This machine's a workhorse. It's not pretty to look at it.
Nope.
It's yeah, you've seen it. It's not pretty to look at it. This thing
No
slaves
gadgets
away.
are pretty to look at.
Yeah, well, this one's less pretty because it's got wires coming out the back where I put the PID in. The stains don't ever seem to quite. I can't quite get rid of them. I probably could polish it out. But anyway, it's a used machine, right?
Mhm.
We probably make no, probably 5 cups a day, espresso as a day,
Mhm.
every day, sometimes more for 1.5 years without a break, right? So this
Mhm.
thing's working like a guy down a coal mine. This is hard work. And it's been pretty reliable. I only use good water from the peak water filter.
Mhm.
I clean it every single week, and take off the shower screen and clean that. I clean the porta filters. I mean, it gets maintained. But obviously the internals are still having to work that hard, and you're never going to get rid of all the lime scale that potential buildup, etc. in there. So
Mhm.
a few times in the recent past, I've been having issues that I assumed were limescale buildup because it's the classic, get it, pun, classic. It's the classic water not coming out of the brew head enough,
Mhm.
but the pump's still working. And you know that because you you turn the steam wand on and you've got the brew button going, and you turn the
Mhm.
steam one on or off, and it switches between water coming out the steam wand and water coming out the brew head,
Mhm.
which means that A, the solenoid valve is working because it's switching,
Mhm.
and B, it means your pump's working because water's coming out.
Yeah.
But if water isn't coming out the brew head strongly enough, it usually means there's a bit of a clog, a bit of lime scale caught in that solenoid valve. And there's a way of, if you just switch it backwards and forwards and you go steam, brew, steam, brew, steam, brew, and it moves that physical valve backwards and forwards, it usually dislodges. And you can
Mhm.
put a bit of descaler through it as well. And so that's my modus operandi
Mhm.
for that problem. And it had always worked until last week,
Mhm.
where I get no water out of my brew head. So let's evaluate what this machine is worth. Brand new there, 500 quid, something like that,
Yeah.
right? 500 pounds. A new solenoid valve, which I don't think is the problem, but a new solenoid, just give an idea of parts, I looked it up, is about 50 pounds.
Oh, you can get it for less.
You can probably get it for less. You're right. Okay, I could probably find it for less. But that was like, I looked in the regular shops type thing,
Yeah,
the
even
whatever
in
it
the
is, the
regular
online
shops, I think
shops.
you can get one for about 25 pounds,
Oh,
50 pounds.
okay. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty good. So okay, let's say it's 30 quid. We'll split the
Mhm.
difference, buddy. So 30 pounds, you get yourself a new solenoid, maybe some shipping costs in
Mhm.
there. But I don't think it's a solenoid valve.
No, because if
And
it switches,
if
you're
because it's
okay.
switching, plus also I took this whole thing apart. I took a solenoid valve. It was pretty clean. I was blowing compressed air through. It was all going through fine. Then I let it sit for 30 minutes in undiluted, because there's no rubber parts on that valve, undiluted um, uh, limescale remove fluid.
Mhm.
And I mean, this thing's as clean as it can possibly get. Put it all back, still
Yeah.
never
Also,
do a single
solenoid
problem.
valves don't get very dirty. They get gunky with coffee, but they don't
Right,
really get a lot of lime scale.
right. But also, I noticed as I switch off the brew, if I brew, I got no water. As I switch off, I get hardly any discharge down the OPV. So, I mean, let's not just try and solve this problem right now, but let's
Mhm.
look at the example. If this was somebody else, right?
Mhm.
And you followed the instructions, you've done the switch on, switch off, switch between the steam and the brew, and that doesn't work, as an example,
Mhm.
you are now faced with, you've got a 500-pound machine, which, okay, the replacement value is maybe 500 quid, but if you were selling it, you'd probably get, I don't know,
150
150. Yeah.
if
Well, that's broken for 150. So, but if you fixed it, maybe you'd
if
get,
it's broken, you get 120, 100.
okay. Okay. So, no, I think secondhand, you might get 200 quid for it. Okay, whatever. You'll get something like that. You'll get something in that region, depending on, the time of day and where the moon is amongst the stars.
Yeah.
So, what should you do? How much would it cost to call out an engineer to fix that problem? It's out of warranty.
Out of warranty. So if you're not under warranty anymore, I don't know, to be honest, but I think you should be looking at probably 100 pounds.
Yep, I would say so easily. 100 quid, get somebody to come out and whatever, do something to it.
Or bring it to someone. I mean, they do that. There used to be a guy that in Italy, where I'm from, that used to do these as a living, and he was
Yeah.
a Gaja servicing person.
So you might be able to look up in your well, I almost said phone book. In your phone book, you might be able to look up, locally, your local directory, your local Google
Yeah,
Home, whatever
there
it
are
is.
people that
Find
do
someone who does it.
coffee machine servicing, and you know what? It's still work. It's still money, and for someone that does it I mean, professionally, it's a simple enough job. So it's easy money. So it wouldn't be work that is beneath them anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So before you set off, and if you're not sure what you're doing, give it to someone else.
Give it to
Outsource
somebody
it.
else. Find someone else who's local. It's like you
Yeah.
got like local computer guys. Like there's always, like, my mum's got this guy who fixes her computer all the time. And if I was down there, because she's 3 hours away. If I was near her, I'd go around and sort it out for her. But I'm not, so she pays a guy, and he comes over to the house and does updates and fixes and tells her where her email is and all that kind of stuff. And so you could, I'm sure you're right, for that class of machine, you're bound to have someone local. Now, let's say you go up. Let's say you've spent thousands on a machine, whether it's a Lamazocco or a Bianca, Lilith Bianca, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
You spent thousands on this machine,
Mm-hmm.
and you're a year and a day down the road, because we all know these things go wrong the week after the warranty runs out. So it's a year and a day, or whatever, like the warranty period is. I actually don't even know what the warranty period. What is the warranty period on espresso machines these days?
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't
But
know
I
either.
think in this case, you should always have a yearly service. I
Oh,
mean, you should,
really?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
absolutely. You should give a yearly service to a normal Gaja Classic.
What
Take
do
it
they do
apart.
in a service? What
Huh?
happens in a service? What do they
You
do?
take it apart. You clean all the buildup of lime scale. Uh, even brush it. You examine the the boiler. If it needs replacement, you replace it. I see lots of people in the Gaja Classic community that say, "Oh, you should save it." I mean, the top boiler, because that's what breaks most often, or that's what
Yeah,
it's beyond repair, because the bottom is a lump of brass. So
yeah, yeah.
the bottom part, it's really unlikely that's going to be problematic. The top boiler is 40 pounds, guys. It is 40 pounds. It's not worth descaling and scraping and then having to sand it, because
Yeah.
It's chipped on the interface between the boiler top and the brew head.
Uh-huh.
Just get a new one. It's fine. It's aluminum. It's recyclable.
Is it 100% aluminium? Because the
No,
trouble with
it's not.
aluminium, well, it's not really recyclable, is it?
There is, but I mean, you can always take it to the scrapyard and say, "Oh, I got this lump of metal. What do I do with it?"
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you put it in the landfill. It's still not worth the trouble of uh, cleaning it up, sanding it. If you sand it, you also remove the top layer. So you're going to have you're going to expose the aluminum underneath. The aluminum underneath is going to leach into the drinks. It's going to oxidate,
Yeah.
and oxidizing is going to corrode even more. So you start a vicious circle. Either you keep it clean all the time. So you take it apart once a year. You take it apart. You change the gasket, the O-ring
Mhm.
between the two, and you make sure that doesn't show corrosion. If it's beyond repair, if you see that there are holes and the thing is pitted, throw it.
So holes in what? What gets pitted?
It gets pitted in. How can I?
Are you talking about the where the brew head
No, I'm talking about
meets the boiler?
the boiler where the resistance is
Uh-huh.
at the interface between the boiler and the brew head.
Yeah,
That can
that's what I meant. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that area there it needs to be flat.
Uh-huh.
That's flat and polished. Over time, it will corrode, especially if you do lots of descaling. People do a lot of descaling. I mean, I heard people doing, oh yeah, I descale every week. Are you nuts?
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
just scale
not.
like every 3 to 6 months. I'm probably not enough.
I
But I
scale
don't
once
use.
a year. If
Oh, do you? Okay.
yeah, if you don't need to, you don't. It's an
Yeah.
aggressive treatment.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that.
You're pouring acid through your machine is not worth it.
Oh, okay.
I take it apart once a year. Take it apart completely. Check the O-rings if they need replacement. I mean, they need replacement once a year. You can get away with it and not replace them.
Which O-rings? The one on the brew head?
All of them. The one on the brew head, the one between the brew head and the boiler, the ones in the solenoid valve, the one that attaches the steam wand to the boiler.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of O-rings that.
Can you get an O-ring kit?
Yeah.
Okay, I should do that. I mean, I did actually have the O-rings that I've looked at on my machine look okay. I mean, they're not hard.
If you don't
soft.
take them apart too often, and if you don't, especially if you don't steam a lot, they're quite happy to be there for a while.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even the one on my brew head, I have never changed that. I took it apart about 2-3 weeks ago to go and clean everything. So I was cleaning right up in there, cleaning everything, and I was feeling it was actually pretty good. I thought I was expecting it to be in bad condition, but it wasn't rotted at all. So I just put it down.
Eventually it will become hard, but if you use it every day, it doesn't, because it keeps. I mean, you keep it wet.
Yeah. That's true. It's true. We use it every day. Oh, well, so okay. So for, I mean, that's so for a more expensive machine, get it serviced once a year.
Absolutely, but even for less expensive machines, it's not money that you throw away. If you can do it yourself, it's not a difficult thing. But
I'm actually thinking of doing this one myself.
Yeah,
the Gaggia, because what I'm also going to do, like, to be honest with you, I've already got another machine coming in. There's no point in me spending much. I'm actually going to use this as an exercise to learn. So this will be a learning exercise. So the worst case scenario is I destroy the machine. I've lost 100 quid, but I've learned something. But I have taken it apart all the way through to having the boiler pretty much out. When I was taking the solenoid valve out, I didn't take the cables off the boiler. But pretty much apart from that, this thing was completely taken apart. And it's not that hard. It's about 20 minutes.
It's 4 screws that keep the boiler inside.
4 screws that keep it
in place.
inside, but then you got to take the steam wand out, and you got to take the and you got to take a few pipes
One
out
nut
and a
for
few
the steam wand.
One nut on the steam wand. That's it's like, you know this. It was 1 nut on the steam wand, 4 things underneath, 2 screws to take the top plate off, and then a few wires that you pull out
And pull out the steam knob.
Yeah, you put out the steam knob, which was actually for me, that was the hardest bit, trying to remember which way that goes in, because it's counterintuitive, because there's a flat bit on the plastic inside on the hole,
Mhm.
then there's a flat bit on the metal rod that comes out where you connect it to. So of course you push the flat of the flat hole where the hole in the knob is flat against the flat part of the rod, except you don't. You put the flat part, you've put the flat hole on the round part of the rod. It's got a little piece of metal in it as well, which is like the most annoying design feature. It's got this like tiny little bit of metal. So like a little metal bendy, springy strip, which is about a
Yes.
centimeter bit long, and it falls out immediately. You take it, it just falls out. So then you have to find it, and then you put it back in the little flat hole, and then you push that flat hole over the rounded part of the Steam One's rod, which is
The
kind of, so
one
that was the hardest
thing
thing for me. Everything else was straightforward.
the one thing to do that I always do is I take pictures, lots of pictures.
Yeah, that's the key, isn't
When
it?
you take it apart, you take pictures because you remember it there and then. Then you have to do something suddenly. You remember that, oh, I have to cook dinner. You go cook dinner, you forget about your coffee machine, and you go back next week.
Yep.
And you look at the pile
was
of
it
rubbish
the gray
there, and it's
wire
like,
or the orange wire?
exactly. And you start wondering,
Yeah, yeah, pretty
and
much it.
I have done it a lot of times.
So do you
Another
think,
thing that I actually do is I have action cameras, and I use them to film myself while I take these things apart.
okay, I should do something like that. I don't have any action cameras. I don't do enough action. I might reconsider that.
I can still have cameras.
I can still have cameras. It's a bit like, you know, that new Facebook camera follows you around. That's so creepy. You don't know about this. That there's if you go and buy that Facebook camera, it's like a camera, and you can, I don't know if it's the same one. They did one where you go in front of it. This one I really wanted it. So you stand in front of it, and it tells you whether those clothes look good. So you stand in front of it, and it goes, I'm not sure that shirt matches the tie. Yeah. But it also moves. So as you walk around the room, it moves. So you could be having a conversation with somebody whilst you're, I don't know, doing your house cleaning or something, and it moves around, so you're always in frame.
Right. It must be a very meaningful conversation if you do something else.
Well, trust me. I mean, I have my you see how you can't see what my hands are doing right now?
No.
Yeah. So this camera is set up at this angle so that when I'm on very long calls with my dad, he doesn't listen to this anymore. God, I hope he listens to this anymore. On Friday night, we have a phone call, and I can, underneath here, I can either write emails or play a game on my iPad. And normally him and my sister get into a really deep conversation about art or dogs.
But there is a trick for that. You just put your stuff right in front of the camera like this.
Yeah,
I'm looking at my phone now.
That's it.
And I'm looking at you.
That's right.
I'm very respectful while I don't pay any attention to what you're saying.
You pay no attention. I'm used to it. I can see it. Yeah. So anyway, cameras. Yeah. So I should get something. I've got fancy cameras.
I don't know. Get something simple.
But I need something.
Wow.
Well, I got two of them.
Yeah. So those are amazing when you land a spanner onto them.
But I don't want to put those anywhere near.
Yeah. Or when you spray them with hot coffee. That's brilliant. Yeah. They would love it.
Yeah. So next week, Max, we'll wrap it up there. Is there anything else any other tips you've got for people other than service it once a year and don't touch it if it's expensive? Take it back in if you want it. If it's not under warranty.
If it's not under warranty and you're really sure.
No one's really sure. No one's really sure.
You would be surprised. Then why do I keep seeing posts of people? Oh, I got this machine now, but I don't know what to do with it. I've taken it apart. What does this do?
Okay. Well, they've got time on their hands and money to spare. That's great. I've just bought the latest Slayer and I've taken it apart. Please, can someone help me put it back together again? Yeah.
It's not far from what I've seen.
Yeah. Okay. So actually, one last question for you, Max. One last question on this point. The expensive machines, right?
Yes.
Are more expensive because I forget why. They've got two boilers. That's right. They've got two boilers. They've got maybe some more knobs, right? Probably knobs. I think there's a price per knob. PPNs,
Yes.
price per knob. And
PPK.
oh, actually, hold on to the K. Yeah, that's different kind of knob.
I'm sorry. Let the immigrant
They
correct
shouldn't
you.
have brought attention to that. Damn it. I look like an idiot again. So PPK. So you got your price per knob in there. Anyway, so those, but presumably the machines all work in fundamentally the same way.
Mhm.
So my
They heat
question
up
to you,
water and they put it at a pressure through the coffee.
right. Actually, I say all in the same way. It's not, of course, because it depends on the group head you've got. So I'm moving from a saturated group head like the Gaggia, and the Lamazoccos have a saturated group head. So
Yeah.
fluid, not
So
a
you're
Lamazoccos.
moving from a GS3 or a Slayer
Yeah.
to a
So, well, look. So the answer is if you've got a Gaggia Classic and you're used to working with that, no problems on a GS3. Pull it apart, have fun.
Yeah,
It's going to be
it's easy.
Nothing can go wrong. Says Max. But any problems, drop Max a line.
but
I'll make sure his address is in
you
the
drop me
comments
a line, but blame Nick.
So that's a saturated group head where the boiler sits over the top
Mhm.
for thermal stability. Basically, sits right over the top of the brew head.
Yeah.
On the machine that I'm getting is an E61 group head, where there's a thermosiphon in a completely different. They're in different places, and there's has to go from one place to the other. But assuming that all of those work in relatively the same way, if you get an issue, I mean, presumably you'll get the same kinds of issues as well, like limescale buildup. How would limescale build up? Well, I'd get the same thing, I guess. Let's say you get limescale buildup on an expensive machine, and maybe the water isn't coming through the E61 brew because they got three-way solenoids, don't they? Yes, they do. So
Yes.
if you get the same trouble on an expensive machine,
Mhm.
how difficult is it for someone like me? Let's not say to anybody else. You're just talking to me here.
Mhm.
How difficult is it for someone like me to open up the machine and to, like I did with my Gaggia, and I put it back, and it still, and I say it still didn't work, but I didn't break anything.
Mhm.
How difficult would it be for me to go and take that solenoid out and replace it or clean it or whatever? Would that be something that I could do or not?
Yes, it's not a difficult thing to do. It can be awkward. You need to have the right tools.
Yeah.
It's not something difficult. If you have a general understanding on how these machines work and you can afford a mistake, that's the important part.
Yeah.
It's easy enough.
What kind of mistakes are we talking about here?
If you strip a pipe thread, for example,
Oh
or
God,
if
yeah,
you
right. Got you. Yeah.
uh,
Totally. You over tighten something or whatever.
over tighten something or cross thread something, bend anything beyond repair, or maybe crack a pipe if you
Yeah.
bend it the wrong way.
Look, I've got a tip. If in your plans to repair your own espresso machine, your toolkit comprises of hammers, probably get a professional in to do it instead. I think that's a fair observation.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because basically hammering your way to a resolution is probably not the road to success.
Probably not.
Trust
No.
me, I've tried it. So I haven't met anything that doesn't respond well to a hammer yet. There was that time, Max. One more story. I'm going to go when this is totally illegal now, and I'm just sort of. But I'm pretty sure the terms years have passed. Years. I think 20 years. This is probably 20 years ago. I just started out a business, and I had worked for. I'll tell you who it is. It was for Reuters. It wasn't Reuters directly. It was a company called something or other. Reuters bought. Anyway, big company, right? It's a big company. I've been doing some work for them. and they owed me 20 grand, I think it was 20 grand. It was a lot of money.
Mm.
And I needed it because I just started the business and, I needed the money. So they're a big company that been like 2 months, hadn't paid me. I think it was the third month. And so I called up credit control. And I said, listen, I said, you owe me the money, blah, blah, blah. And she was very laissez-faire. And she said, look, we'll get around to it. I can't remember what she said. Honestly can't remember. But it was basically, go away. I'll pay you whenever we get around to it. So I said, no, listen. I said, do you hear this sound? And I picked up something. I remember it was a book or something. And I started banging it on the desk. And she goes, yes. I said, that's my bat. We called this and I had the company name Bat. So this is the company bat. And I bang, bang, bang. I said, look, let me describe this bat to you. This is a bat this is meant to be funny. I was breaking the ice, right? This is 20 something years ago. I was new in business. Actually, probably 25, maybe, probably about 25 years ago. I was new in business and I didn't know any better. And I started describing, I said, this has got some notches in it where it's had a few dents and bangs and whatever else. I said, I'd hate to have to come around and use the debt collection bat on you. And she was like, oh my God, I will get you the check. And I realized I'd gone too far. And I said, no, please, you don't understand. It was just a joke. She goes, no, I swear we'll get you the money. I swear we'll get you the money.
And that's how Nick sends his invoices now.
And I started, the more I told her I was joking, the more she desperately pleaded with me that I got a check by courier the next day. I don't recommend it. I'm just saying those days are gone. Can't do that anymore.
Well, I mean, you don't do that anymore. I mean, when you sign a contract now and you agreed and you say, okay, yes, you're gonna give me this money, yes,
yeah.
And as a collateral, I want to know where your kids go to school.
Yeah, or I know where your kids go to school. I don't need you to tell me.
Yeah, exactly. You just say casually. You just drop it in the conversation and say
the Italian way. I'm just complimenting your family. It's a lovely family.
It's a lovely family. I
don't forget to tell Jimmy to tie his shoelaces. I can see his left one's not done properly.
That's how you do it.
Oh, how did we get into this, Max? Listen,
I don't know. You started.
I did once again. All right. So next week, what I'm going to do, my machine arrives on Wednesday, or Wednesday, as they say in some foreign countries. So we will. I will do an unboxing with my action cams that I don't own.
Are we also going to do an autopsy of the Gadget?
I've already taken a number of pictures of the Gadget. In the meantime, what I will do is, oh yes, what should I do with that, Max? You never gave me an answer. I want my money back.
What, with the Gadget?
Yeah. What do? Should I replace the boiler? What should I do?
You need to see where the is not coming, the water's not coming through.
Well, yeah. There's only a limited number of things it can be. If it's not the solenoid valve, and the pipes aren't clogged.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm just saying. I was just giving you some ideas, some clues. I mean, the water's going in for the steam, so because the steam water's coming out.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm thinking is probably.
Is there a different pipe?
Yes, in the heat exchanger. Pipe.
Yeah.
That goes into the brew head. That's where normally limescale tends to build up.
Okay. So maybe I could pull the pipes apart.
You can try. I wouldn't, because it's a very soft copper pipe.
Oh, the soft copper pipe. Okay. Well, I've run.
Open the boiler and see what's in it.
Open the boiler and see what's in it. Okay, I'll do that. What could go wrong? Nothing. Well, thank God I haven't actually got around to selling any of the other 3 coffee machines I've got. So, which I promised I was going to do. I now realize I'll have 5 coffee machines when this thing arrives on Wednesday.
So we started with Max, that was the one that was collecting coffee machines.
Yeah.
Now I have 1 coffee machine, and
one coffee machine looks really nice. I didn't see it today because I wasn't there, but I imagine if I was there and I did look at it, I would have thought to myself, that looks really nice.
Yeah, there is actually on on Facebook Marketplace. There is a Paros for £65.
No,
Yes, total bargain.
I might. Oh no,
You
you're
can
evil.
try.
All right, all right. Is it in good condition?
It looks good. It's probably, I mean, inside it probably needs a service, but it looks good.
Yeah. What do they normally
And
go for? What are they worth? Those Parises?
120.
Okay. Mm.
I didn't say that.
No. No. Okay. All right. I'm going to just pretend you didn't say that. And yeah. So what I'll do an unboxing. Obviously, you know what the machine is. I'm going to send you pictures and everything. It's all very exciting. I'll send you pictures. I'll be like a giggly little, like a giggly little teenager running around opening the boxes and whatever. And then next week, we'll do a little video. We'll do a little bit. I'll put a little video together. We'll do the video thing up front. So we'll see what it is. And then we'll discuss why I bought the thing that I said I would never buy.
Why?
There is a reason. It's not about the money. Oh, no, actually, it's not really about the money.
You were given an offer that you couldn't refuse.
No, it was, I'm not going to say. There's a reason. We're going to talk about it next week.
Okay.
All right, buddy. Have a great evening. Talk to you later.
You too.